A very good morning to one and all. And today I'm going to explain about a last unit as per our syllabus, that is Turing machine or the computability, and which is an fifth unit according to our syllabus. Turing machine is in fifth unit, and up to now, I think you all understand how to design the PDAs and how to convert from PDA to CFG as well as from CFG to PDA, right? So from starting of the unit one onwards, just by recalling one by one, like different types of finite automatas like an NFA and DFA, knowing about how to convert from NFA to DFA and knowing how to design the DFAs and knowing how to recognize first initially this is the initial step that we need to know, recognizing of the finite automatas whether it is an NFA or whether it is an DFA, and then designing of the NFS and designing of the DFS, and then conversions from NFA to DFA. And also I think you already that the conversion of NFA with epsilon to DFA. So all these are all the concepts that we already learned in unit number 1, and the two types of machines which are having an output alphabet like an Mealy and Murray machines, and how to convert from Mealy to Murray and Murray to Mealy. First, initially knowing how to recognize the machine, whether it is in Mealy or Murray. And I think you all understand all these concepts because I make you to understand just by giving some practical examples also, showing with an practical examples also. I explained all these concepts. I think you all understand all of those. And now the last unit is about an Turing machine, and in between the unit 1 and the PDA, that is the NFA DFA, and the PDA, in between when having the regular expressions as well as the regular sets and as well as the context free grammars and context free languages, and how to derive the derivation trees as in leftmost and the rightmost derivation trees, all and all these concepts I explained you. And I shared the material for all these concepts also. And recently you all written the assignments and you all submitted the assignment from all these three units. And here, the last, that is the fifth unit. Here I'm going to explain in today's class. And the concept of this fifth unit is just introducing what the Turing machine is and what the definition of Turing machine and how to design the Turing machine and all these concepts that we're having under this. And initially I'm starting with what the Turing machine is, from where we get this Turing machine and who introduced this. And this was introduced by Alan Turing in 1936. And here it is very a simple mathematical model of a computer. Actually, the name that we are calling it as a finite automata or finite state machine or state diagram, all and all these are well recognized, well familiar with the word like in Turing machine, right? And we're having a many examples for the Turing machines only. And from the Turing machine itself, and from the basic of the Turing machine itself, we start up learning what the finite automata is and how to represent an finite automata and all those things. And here this is a model of a computer, a simple mathematical model of a computer, and also it models the computing capability of a computer. So these are the three most important points for introducing what the Turing machine it is, and who introduced this, and in which year it was introduced, and for what purpose this Turing machine was introduced, right? And how we're considering this Turing machine as a model of the computing, and where it is the capability of a computer. And always it is a simple mathematical model of an computer. And then what the definition of an Turing machine it is. And here again the Turing machine is also in finite state machine, same thing. PDA is also in finite state machine, Turing machine is also in finite state machine. NFA finite automatas for NFA and DFA are also in finite state machines, right? While coming to the regular expression and while coming to the context free grammars, those are not in finite state machines. That means for directly we're not representing a model for those, right? So we're not calling them as in finite state machines. Only to which we are defining a mathematical definition in the form of M, where it consisting of 6 tuples, 5 tuples, and 7 tuples. Those we can call them as in finite state machines. And here a Turing machine TM, we can easily call it as an TM. The representation of the Turing machine is with an TM. TM is nothing but an Turing machine. And here this Turing machine is a finite state machine, and always we are taking an input tape, infinite tape. In infinite input tape we're taking, and with an infinite tape, and we're having a read and write header, and with the tape header, and we are reading and writing and one tape cell and move left or right. Right. Here we're doing the both moving off from left to right. We're doing in this type of finite state machines. Up to now we only done with starting with left and ending with right, but here we can move left or we can move right as our wish, depending on the given language. So what's the definition is, here this Turing machine is also an finite state machine, as well as when we are calling it as an finite state machine means the things that the machine should consisting of is an input header, and input tape, an infinite tape. Infinite tape means there we are storing an input buffer, and with the input header, we are reading the input from and the input tape, where it is an infinite tape, and reading from the cell, each and every cell, one cell we are reading and writing, and then we are moving to left, or else we need to move to right. Right. So here it is normally accepts the input strings, or it completes its computation by entering a final or accepting state. This is the only one thing that we're having here, to show the acceptance of the Turing machine. While coming to the PDA, there we show two types of acceptance, right? Two way of acceptance of the input strings, but here only we're having an one way of acceptance. That is the common thing that we are doing whenever we enter into the final state. Then we can say that it is an acceptance, right? Or the tape is used for input and working storage. This the input tape, whatever the infinite tape that we're taking, that is used for storing an input and for the working storage. That's the definition of what the Turing machine is. I think you all understand the definition, a common definition of what the Turing machine is. Now I am explaining you how what the mathematical definition of the Turing machine is. And this is a mathematical definition of a Turing machine, where the Turing machine is represented by capital M. And here the machine consisting of seven tuples, where it is Q, sigma, tau, and del transition mapping function del Q naught. And here we're having a capital B and capital F. And let's see what the seven tuples are, and where the Q is a finite state of the states. I think you all know, because whenever we're defining an mathematical definition with the tuples, first initially we start with the number of states where it was represented with an q, right? Q always defines an finite set of states, and sigma is a set of tau where it is not including b. That means sigma does not includes the b, and also it is set of input symbols. Inputs, you already know what the input alphabet is, right? So tau is nothing but a finite set of states, those which are allowable from the tape symbols. And del is a transition function, and here we need to move from one state to another state. That is, moving function can be done with an del. And how the mapping is q into tau. That means here we are mapping with q into tau into left or right. That means we are moving either to left or either to right. That's why we are showing like this, q into the tau. That is, q is nothing but a finite set of states with what the tau is, a finite tape symbols, a finite set of tape symbols, along with left move or right move, right? And q naught is an initial state where it is in start state. And b here, b, the another most important tuple here we're having is b, where b is an blank, and that is, it is from the tape symbol. It is from a tau, right? F is the final state. We already know where it is an acceptance state, right? Please make a note of this definition. And the mathematical definition of the Turing machine is M is equal to Q sigma tau del Q naught capital B and F. Just note down what each and every tuple is. And Q is finite states, finite set of states, and sigma is input alphabet, tau is input tape symbols, and del is a transition mapping function, where the mapping function is Q maps with tau maps with left or right. Q naught is an initial state where it is in start state, and B is a blank symbol from the tau. Tau is nothing but an input tape symbol, and F is an final state, right? So please make a note of this important definition. of the Turing machine. It is a mathematical definition of a Turing machine. And if you know the seven tuples, it is very easy for you to recognize whether you are designing for the PDA or you are designing for the Turing machine. Just recall what the definition of the PDA is. There we're having an Z naught, right? Instead of B, we're having an Z naught, where Z naught is a stack symbol. But here, instead of Z naught, we're having an B. But here, we're not having any stacks. Only we're having an a direct finite state machine without any stack. So that's the difference between the PDA and the Turing machine. Both the PDA and Turing machine are seven tuple machines. Make a note of this. PDA and Turing machine are seven tuple machines. NFA and DFA are five tuple machines. Mealy and Murray are six tuple machines. Let's get clear. NFA and DFA are five tuple machines. There we defined five tuples, and Mealy and Murray are six tuple machine. PDA and push down automata. PDA means PDA and Turing machine is a seven tuple machine. Please make a note of this, what and what the tuples that we're having for the Turing machine. Just a simple difference between the PDA and the Turing machine, that is, in the place of Z naught we're having B here. That's it. Right there where we are using the stack. So we here we're not using the stack. And for there we are using the stack means we need to use a stack alphabet Z naught. But here we are using a blank symbol B. And why to use this blank symbol B means at the time of learning the concept of designing the Turing machines, there you can clearly understand why to use this B. Right. Once please make a note of this. And this is a model of a Turing machine, the Turing machine model. And here we're having an input and output tape symbols as well as an read or write header and the finite control. And along with that, we're having the tape that was divided into cells and of infinite length. And I think you all know, if you are well understand about the model of finite automata, and then it is very easy for you for understanding this model of Turing machine, because every finite state machine is having its own model. And for the PDA, it is having its own model with the stack. And here for the Turing machine, and nothing differ is not there between the finite automaton model and the Turing machine model. Both are same, but here instead of using a in instead of placing the input in an input tape, here we're using some blank symbols. There we didn't use the blank symbols like an B. That's the difference between these two. And here the Turing machine model is input and output. This is an input and output tape symbols, and a infinite length of the input tape, where it consisting of an input string and each and every cell consisting of a single word, that is in single word only, consisting of a only one cell, not the overall length of the string that we are not placing in an one cell, and one word in one cell that we are placing like this, and starting with b, that is in blank, and ending with b's, that is in blank, and in between we're having some infinite length of the input, where we can call it as an input tape with an input string, and as well as an output tape, output string. Why we are calling it as means, we need to do an acceptance of the input strings just by uh, reading from the input, right, reading from the input from the input tape. So whatever the output that we need to generate from this, so that the from this only we are going to generate, right? So that's why we are calling it as an output tape symbol also. So here itself we are naming it as an input and output tape symbols, and this is an reader write header. This pointer is an reader write header. It always reads one cell, one cell, reading at one cell, and writing uh, writing the output. Read and write headers, reading and writing, this is a reader write header, and this is finite control. With this finite control, where reading the input tape from left to right as well as from right to left. And here totally the tape was divided into some equal size of cells, and in equal size of cells we are putting an infinite length of the input string, right? This is an a model of an Turing machine. This, in this way you need to represent the model of the Turing machine. The simple thing that you need to do is, starting with you need to start with the input string with b, and some writing some input like this, and you need to end with an b. That's the indication of it is a Turing machine model, right? It is an Turing machine model. Everywhere at an finite automata, at an PDA, wherever you are considering the finite state machines, there we're having an input tapes like this. We're calling them as an input strings, right? So what's the difference between those and this is, that's the simple thing. You need to start with an B and you need to end with an B's. And there also we're having a read or write header. There also we're having a finite control. And but the thing that's the simple difference between those is the PDA and the finite automata as well as the Turing machine is, here you need to represent the B's. B is a blank symbol, but while coming to the finite automata and PDA, there were not having an B's. There were not representing the blank symbols, right? So please make a note of this model also. This is a Turing machine model. Just make a rough, just for recognizing that this is an model of an Turing machine. And why we are learning this model of the Turing machines or the model of PDS or model of finite automatas means, you need to know how to do the acceptance of the input strings. There, while coming to the PDA, we're having two way of acceptance of the input strings, but while coming to the Turing machine, we're having only one way of acceptance. That is also whenever we reach an final state, then finally we can say that it is an accepted. Otherwise, not accepted. That's it. But while coming to the PDA, whether you can make it as an empty stack or whether you can show it with an final state, then we can say that it is acceptable. So there we're having two ways, two possibilities to show the acceptance of the input strings, but here while coming to the Turing machine, we're having only one way of acceptance. And here it is a transition function, and I already explained this. This is an id instantaneous descriptor representation. One move we can show that it is with this, like with the representation of like this, one move. If it is a sequence of moves, then you can put an star. If we are doing a sequence of moves means you need to put an star. Only we are showing an one move means just you need to denote like this. And here it is an Turing machine representation denotion. And how the transition function, the mapping function can be takes place means del of, always we need to represent with an del of, state with an input, state with an input, and we are getting an output with an output tape, output with an output along with an read or write. See here, q is an current state and x is an current tape symbol, and always it pointed by the tape header. Now read or write header is pointing with this x. Now my current state is an x. Now what the output of this is, the state gets changed to Q to P, right? The state gets changed to Q to P. And now what the output state is, and output is also the current the output tape symbol is also changed X to Y. And here we're having an moves, whether we need to move to right or whether we need to move to left. That's it, right? Please make a note of this also, this representation also. And when we are doing a transition function for the Turing machines, this is the way of representing a mapping function. As already said that q into input tau is mapping with left or right, right? So it one more, if you show only one more means you need to denote like this. If you need to show sequence of moves means you need to put a star here. Then it represents that sequence of moves in a Turing machine, right? And you all please make a note of this function, this transition function. And here we're having a concept like Turing machines as language acceptors. Turing machines as language acceptors. Here, the when the Turing machine halts, when we can halt in an final state, and how it gets accepted. That's the thing that I'm explaining now. And the concept of this is Turing machine as language acceptors. That's the name of this concept. And here Turing machine halts when it no longer has available moves, right? That's the one way of doing an acceptance. And doing the halt is nothing but an ending the machine, right? Ending the uh, transition mapping function. So when we can end means when Turing machine we are not having the moves, available moves, then we can halt it. Or else if we get a final state, then we can halt. That means we can show that it accepts its inputs, otherwise it rejects its inputs. That's the two most important things that we're having here. And for a language accepted by M, we defined like this. What the language is, L of M is equal to W is nothing but a string. String belongs to some input alphabet, and in that where Q naught W. That means this is nothing but an Q naught W is nothing but an present state, current state with an current input, where it is giving an next state with the next input. So for some QF where it belongs to F, where the x1 and x2 belongs to this, x1 and x2 belongs to tau. Tau is nothing but an input tape alphabet, right? Input tape symbol. So this is the way of defining the language that was accepted. The language that was accepted by the machine M, where it was defined like this. W is always a string, sigma is always an input alphabet, and Q naught is nothing but an a Q naught with an string where it gives the states like this. That means it should be some input with an input with some state as well as an input. And if you get it as an if the qf here we're having an qf, right, where it belongs to f means, then we can say that it is an acceptable. And the x1 and x2 also belongs to tau. So this is the way of doing the language acceptance for the Turing machines. And here only the 2 points you need to remember. One thing is when we are doing the halt means, if it halts in a final state, and then we can say that it is an accept uh, with its input. Otherwise we can say that it is rejects, or else there is no we need if you want to go proceed for further, but you are not having an moves, further moves, then you can halt it. But there you cannot say that whether it is an accept or reject. This is the two ways that we're having here, right? One is if you are not having the available moves. Second thing is directly if you get an finite state. These are the two things. We can say that accept or we can say that reject. And how to define the language means this is a way of defining the language that was accepted by the machine. Then we can say that the language that was accepted by the machine is with this, right? And I think please make a note of this syntax. This we can call it as a syntax. Why we are calling it why we are calling it as a syntax means this shows that how the Turing machine as a language accepted, how the Turing machine as a language accepted. So please make a note of this. L of m is equal to open the braces and w, where w is the string, it always belongs to the sigma. Why we put an sigma means here it is in positive closure input alphabet, and the state with an input string w, and it gives an input with the state along with an input. And where here for some the qf belongs to f, then both the q1 and q2 belongs to tau. That's the thing that is here for the Turing machine as a language acceptors. And now I explain you as an language acceptors, and if it is an transducers, that means a Turing machine as transducers. And here to use a Turing machine as a transducer, and you need to treat the entire non-black portion of the initial tape as an input, right? Then it can be considered as an transducers. And you need to treat the entire non-black portion of the tape when the machine halts as an output. And here we're having a syntax for this when we can say that it is in transducers means, and with the function like y is equal to f of x, and for the strings like x, where y belongs to some sigma star. Sigma star is nothing but an input alphabet, right? So if we are having an input like this q naught with x, where it is giving a sequence of moves, this defines the sequence of moves with qfy, then we can say that this is a function index that is an Turing computable. So it exists the Turing machine that can perform the above task. What the above task means, and you can define the function as well as you can treat the entire non-black portion as an input in initial tape, non-black portion of the initial tape as an input. So up to now we're not taking those as an inputs, right? Only we're considering them as an blanks. But whatever the portion that we're having a non-blank portion that we're having here in the initial tape, that is in the input tape, that you need to consider the overall length of that, you need to consider as an input. And then you need to uh, do the halt as an output. That means by doing some acceptance, that means for doing the procedure to get the acceptance, then whenever the machine halts as an output, then we can treat, we can say that it is an transducers, right? And may note down this point also, a Turing machine defines a function y where the function is y is equal to f of x, and for the strings where the x is a string, right? And where this y belongs to some input alphabet sigma star. And if we are having an condition like this, then the above whatever the task the above thing or whatever we're having, we need to perform that. Then we can say that the Turing machine is an transducer. Only we are having here Turing machine as a language acceptor and Turing machine as an transducers. Please make a note of this. And the next thing is here we're having an idea of a Turing machine, and I already explained you the idea of a PDA. The same thing here we're having the concept like an idea of a Turing machine. ID is nothing but an instantaneous description, or ID we can call it as an. And how the instantaneous description can be defined is, see here, these are the tape symbols, right? These are the tape symbols. All these are all the tape symbols, and in between we're having a state, right? It is current state. And what the tape head is pointing is, the tape head is pointing to the current state with an qi. That means whenever I am reading an state with this qi, I'm getting some uh, state with an output alphabet, output symbol, right? So along with that, I am having an move, uh, whether to move and left or whether to move and right. So to move and left means I need to move it right. I need to move the whatever the input I read, that should be moved to left, or whatever the input that I read, that should to move, that should be moved to the right. That's the thing I need to do here in the Turing machines. Make it clear. Some it should not a very simple concept, but somewhat it is complex, but it is very easy. And up to now we learned more all these PDAs and all those, right? But while comparing to those concepts, it is somewhat complex. But while comparing the remaining concepts to the Turing machine, all those are all very easy and very simple, because there were not using any logics, there were not implementing any logics, right? So those are all very simple while compared to Turing machine. But the Turing machine, the designing of the Turing machine is some bit complex, because here we need to do the transitions very carefully, because here we need to move from left to right, where we are doing and left to right moves also, along with the state and the output symbol we are doing the moves also. So here it we need carefully we need to do the transitions with the state along with an input tapes. So see here, del of state with an input is giving an output state along with the output state along with an input tape symbol with an r. What is this r? R is nothing but an right. That means you need to move right or you need to move left, like that we're having here, right? So and this the same transition can be written with the instantaneous descriptor like this. How we're writing this means, see here, from x1 to xi minus 1 q and xi to xn. That means this is an input that is giving an output in the form of some x1 to xi minus 1 y. Why? Because when I read qxi, I am getting an input tape y. So y, it should move to right, right? It should move to right. That means the right, the for the q, the right is this side and the left is this side. So it can be written as y. And what the remaining we are having, xi plus 1 to xn. You can't repeat the xi again, because after reading this xi only you get an y. And here we are having the output of this q comma xi is p y r. That means you need to change the state to p, and while reading with an xi, q with xi, the input tape is changed to y, the input tape symbol is changed to y, and it should move to right. So that's why we moved it to the right. And finally, whatever the input string we are having, you are writing like this: x I plus 1, so on, x n, right? So for the same thing, q xi is equal to py left. Py left, now you need to show it as an py left. How to show it as an py left? Like this. Like this you need to show it. See here, q1 x, q1 to xi plus 1 q, and the same thing here we are taking as an input, and finally we are getting an output as an p, with an y, but you need to move to L. You need to move to L means whatever the thing that we're having on right, that should be moved to left side. See, xi plus 1 is there on the right. So you need to move that to left. Then p xi plus 1 and y should remains like this, y. Along with that y, you need to move this one also, right? And once you please make a note of this, this will be useful for you as a syntax whenever you are writing, whenever you are doing the designings of the Turing machines. It will be useful for you how to move from how to move left and how to move right. This will be useful for you because this is very easy to understand. And when if you are having an right means how to move to right, and if you are having an left means left move means how to move to left. And please make a note of this. All of you please make a note of this syntaxes. This is an instantaneous description of a Turing machine, and here I'm showing you how to move to right and how to move to left with the input tape symbols. I think you all understand the today's session. And today's session I start with our unit number 5, the concept of Turing machine. And initially I explained you the introduction of the Turing machine. Then I explained you the definition of Turing machine, and as well as the definition, the with the common definition I explained you how the mathematical definition within 7 tuples, and also make you to understand how to do the how to map the transition function. That means how to take the transition function del of some state with an input gives what the output. And here we're having an uh, moves with left and right moves are the are we're having here. And with the left and right moves, how to do the transition, now I show you. And then I show you the Turing machine, model of a Turing machine, and along with that, I make you to understand how to do the language acceptance of the Turing machine, as well as how to do the Turing machine procedures. And then this is the last concept in this class. I explained you an instantaneous descriptor of a Turing machine. Here, with this instantaneous description, I explained you how to do the moves to right and how to do the moves to left. That means this is the most important thing. Knowing how to move to right and how to move to left is the most important thing in a transition mapping function for the Turing machine, right? And in the next class, I will explain the remaining concepts under the Turing machine.